Welcome to the I Got Beef podcast. My name is Tony H. Anderson. We got an exciting topic to talk about today. I want you to keep it locked right here. Remember, subscribe, like, and share. Do that. I'll know. Hey, throw away your broccoli. That's right. Throw away your Brussels sprouts. You don't need them. All you need is a big old slab of beef. I'm talking about one of those tomahawk steaks, those T-bones. Yeah, you know the ones. A nice juicy steak, peppercorn, salt, pepper. That's all you need. Just that. Why, you ask? Why throw away the vegetables and just eat the meat? Well, if you have an aversion to vegetables like I do, then you're going to want to eat beef, because steak, beef, it has over 5, count them 5, essential nutrients for you. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. And I got beef with anybody who think I'm wrong, because you are sorely mistaken. Now, if you want to eat vegetables, that's fine. I have no problem with that. Truly, I don't. I used to like vegetables. I still do on occasions, but I'm a carnivore-lifestyle, baby. I don't think I'm going to change that, okay? Again, I am Tony H. Anderson. I am your resident carnivore enthusiast. I am enthusiastic about what I eat every single day. I'm very, very happy about what I eat. I really am. I mean, I'm so happy I almost cry every time I put a little morsel of steak in my mouth. I say, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Now, I can't say that about when I used to eat broccoli or asparagus. I mean, those things are good, but I just, no, I wasn't very happy. I mean, when I put a morsel of meat in my mouth and I know it's cut fresh from the butcher, it's organic, nothing like it. It's savory. Okay, let's jump into it, okay? Enough. I digress. I digress. Let's jump into it. Let's get into my notes here. I want to talk about 5 nutrients. 5 nutrients that I have found in beef or steak or what have you, or I've kind of researched. But, steak or beef or most ruminant animals, they have over 5 essential nutrients. The ones that I'm going to be talking about today, is I just had some beef earlier, so that's probably what you see. But what I had today was a nice tomahawk steak. Yeah. Go to my Instagram page, you'll see that. But anyway, let's talk about these 5 essential nutrients. Let's talk about protein for one. Let's talk about iron, zinc. Let's talk about vitamin B6 and B12. Let's talk about magnesium and potassium. Let's talk about those things. And I mean, there's plenty more that I didn't even mention that we can get into on another podcast. I'll be happy to do that for you, just because you asked me, okay? Let's talk about those things real quick as I rifle through my notes here. So, protein is my number one thing. Every time we ask our gym rats, especially me, because I'm back in there, the very first thing they ask, how much protein you getting? Protein to body ratio, body weight ratio, and all that type of stuff. Let me tell you, steak has about a concentrated of 27 to 30% of proteins. It contains also 9 essential amino acids needed for growth and maintenance of your bones and your muscles. Okay? Now, when I go to Chipotle, they ask you, which protein would you like? And then you go straight to the meat. Now, I don't go to Chipotle anymore, but if I did, I would be very happy, as opposed to when I was a vegetarian and I used to go in there and I would order a Chipotle bowl and they immediately go, what would you like for protein? And they go straight to the meat. And I'm like, can't you tell I'm a vegan? Can't you tell I'm a vegetarian? I don't eat meat. I wanted to be nasty, but they didn't know. Okay. But for this purposes, I'm very happy to say, yes, steak has enough protein for you. Hey, let's go to iron real quick. I like to talk about iron. Iron is an important component of hemoglobin. Okay, the substance in your red blood cells that carries oxygen from your lungs throughout your entire body so that you may have good circulation. If you don't have enough iron in your body, you can't make enough healthy oxygen. And guess what? Things go bad. I don't need to be an MD to tell you that. Okay, good oxygen, good vitamins, good steak. That should be a shirt. My man, Rare Flair, let's get on that one, okay? Let's talk about vitamin B6 and B12. Let's break down, B6 will break down sugars. Breaks down sugars, fats, and proteins. And it helps create antibodies that support a healthy immune system. Red blood cells that deliver oxygen to your body. Vitamin B6 is important to keep your brain functioning optimally. Now, let me tell you about vitamin B6. Since I've been eating ruminant meat, that means steak, bison, let me just say it, bison, beef from the cow, venison, things of that nature. Animals, they roam about and they eat green grass and so forth and so on. Since I've been eating that stuff, I haven't had a cold. Everybody around me has just been falling with flu-like symptoms, COVID-like symptoms. They just been sick. Now, listen, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not saying that as a carnivore, you won't ever get sick. But take it from me, somebody who lives in Arizona, who had a hard time with antihistamines, with pollen, all these different things. I didn't get sick. I really don't get sick at all. I might have a few sniffles, but that's about it. And that's a vast difference. Okay? Also, it talked about delivering oxygen to the brain. I used to have real bad brain fog. Not anymore. And I believe that's what happens. That vitamin B6 in your steak, in your hamburger, you're getting that every time you eat. As a carnivore, that's all you're really eating. That's what we really recommend. And so you're getting that, and that's great for you, okay? Let's talk about vitamin B12 associated with that. It also helps several vital body functions, especially your metabolism, okay? Blood circulation, brain function. Again, there's a theme with the synthesis of regulating fatty acids and brain function. And having that energy you need, it's energy production as well. So maybe that's why when I did this about 2 months ago, I had so much, energy. I was eating nothing but beef, butter, and eggs, basically. And I had so much energy. I mean, I was cleaning the house. I was doing honeydews. I mean, I'm out there, clipping the trees and mowing the lawn and pulling weeds, and you just name it, I was doing it. Had so much energy. And I'm telling you, I feel great. Again, we talked about, getting rid of those sugars and getting rid of the carbohydrates and just eating beef now. Not vegetables, but we're talking about this in steak. Let's talk about magnesium, please. Let's talk about magnesium, okay? 300 biochemical reactions in the body. It helps to maintain normal nerve and muscle functions, and it supports a healthy immune system. Remember how I told you guys I had an irregular heartbeat? If you hadn't seen my initial video about the 30-day challenge, I really would challenge you to go and watch that challenge, But I talk about my regular heartbeat. I would be laying down at night and all of a sudden my heart will be thumping or it misses a beat and things of that nature. As soon as I started taking magnesium, especially In my electrolyte that I drink, I've gotten more magnesium. I've gotten that in steak. I have no issues with my heart thumping and erratically or anything like that. It's just crazy. It's so beautiful, okay? Let's talk about potassium. Potassium, your body needs that to build proteins, to break down and use the carbohydrates for fuel. So it breaks down carbohydrates, this potassium does. It helps build muscle and it controls the electrical activity of the heart. Again, this is the theme that we talk about, is the electrical activity of the heart, the irregular heartbeat, immune system, brain function. These are the things that I'm seeing that has vastly improved, on top of me losing 21 pounds. And actually, I was on the scale the other day and I lost a couple of more. So I'm feeling better. I'm looking better. The carnivore diet works. It really does. And so far, I'm reporting to you, I have no issues, okay? So look, I've named about 5 nutrients. I haven't named all of them. And in those 5 nutrients you need for optimal health. And I mean, all we're talking about is just beef. All we're talking about is just steak. Okay? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, vegetables. A friend of mine on Instagram by the name Rare Flair. Again, I'm plugging in your name, bud, because you make those wonderful shirts. But he had a saying that says today that I liked. It said, I don't take vitamins. All I do is eat beef or steak. I believe that's what it said. But it's so true. Look at all the vitamins and nutrients you get, the amino acids, the iron, the potassium, on and on and on. We hadn't even talked about niacin. We hadn't talked about that, okay? So listen, hey, when we come back, we'll do our IGB question of the week, our I Got Beef question of the week. So keep it locked here. If you move that dial, I'll know. I'll come get you. No. Keep it locked. This is how I carnivore. 2 sticks of butter, your favorite electrolyte, in a silicone mold. Put your butter in a hot pan. Let it warm up and then start to stir. When it turns brown, you can start add your flavor or your electrolyte, however you like. Stir and stir some more. Now, once you get to your molds, you can actually add some more electrolyte at the bottom of the molds before you pour your butter in. Pop them in the freezer for about 45 minutes, then pop them out of the freezer onto a nice plate, and you enjoy your brown butter bites, or my carnivore candy. This is how I carnivore. Welcome back to the I Got Beef podcast and the IGB of the week. The IGB question of the week comes from Johnny Dean, and Johnny Dean asked, all my life I've been told that beef is the leading cause of heart disease. And he says, why should I actually trust now that if I eat meat, that I won't die of a heart attack? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question, Johnny. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. However, I do a lot of research and I listen to a lot of doctors that actually enjoy the benefits of the carnivore lifestyle. And one of the things that we can kind of surmise, and I can surmise, is this. There has been numerous studies that suggest that beef is not the cause of heart attacks, and not even the fats, the natural fats that come from the beef or the steak, if you will, the omega-3 fatty acids and those things, okay? What they say is smoking, sugar, seed oils, even vegetarians and vegans alike would address the seed oils. They would talk about those particular type of oil, vegetable oils, fried foods. If you're frying your steak and you having a country fried steak, or you having fried chicken wings and things of that nature, and they cook it in vegetable oil and stuff like that, yeah, that's going to cause you to clog up your arteries. But not eating beef. I'm talking about grilling it, or putting it in the air fryer, or baking it, or sauteing it with some natural grass-fed organic butter that's made out of just cream. What's killing us today is not necessarily just eating meat. It is, in fact, the processed foods, the sugars, which I have another video on that, and we're going to talk about that extensively. I can't wait to get into that vein, because it just takes more explanation and just more breakdown of what I like to call nutrient schematics. Okay, so if you're inclined to get curious, if you're inclined to really want to know about steak and beef and things of that nature, I challenge you to look up what I've just said as you're watching this podcast, and do some research and see what it actually says. And so there's a lot of different people out there, like Dr. Berry, who talks about this, countless others as well, that we're looking at, processed foods and sugars that is causing heart attacks, but not just eating meat alone. That's all the time that I have for today. I want to thank you, Johnny, for the question, for sure. And I like to thank everybody who's listened today to this podcast, who've joined me. And if you would like to leave me a question, I'm going to link my email down at the bottom here, or in the description below, and then you can send me an email, and I will try to answer your question as we continue to sink our teeth into these I Got Beef podcasts. But again, that's all for now. I love you on purpose. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Until next week, arrivederci. God bless. Peace.